Hey, Cato. So you were wondering about the notebooks and the organization system you've seen me use when we're playing. So what I use is I use these 5-star Flex notebooks. So you can buy these at Walmart or you can order them on Amazon. They come in different colors. So I have several different colors. I have a different color one for the notebook I use for my playing notes and a different one that I use for my DM notes. So what I like about them, the reason I use these in particular, and you've seen me do this when we're playing, is that unlike a normal 3-wing binder, it completely folds over. So I can actually have it in a binder, have the 3 rings, and I can fold it over and it takes up much less space on the table. So that's why I use these particular ones. They have poly covers, and so they're pretty durable and tough. This binding over here is fabric, but I've never had a problem with it. The only weird thing about them is they're not normal 3 rings, so there's not single touch open. They have these kind of plastic rings that you have to pull apart, and so you have to pull all 3 of them out if you're going to add and delete things from the notebook. Okay. Now, when you do buy them, they come with these dividers in them. You can certainly buy tab and folder dividers at Staples or Office Max or places like that. But these are the ones that come with them, and they're the ones that I use. So they have little pockets, so you can tuck loose paper in there. There's a couple like this that have a pocket, but then also there is the ones here like this where you can put whole sheets and then they're completely protected. They also come with a little bit of paper, but as you'll see when I go to one of the ones that you use, you can see I put my own paper in these notebooks. Okay, so 5-star Flex. Those are the ones that I use. They're made by Mead, and as I said, you can get them at Walmart or order them on Amazon. And Lyra is very curious about this. Okay, so the one that you've seen me using while we play, this is my player notebook, so it's my purple notebook, okay? And so I use the pockets for loose leaf stuff. This has just maps and stuff in it. These are actually the maps of my campaign world that we play in. In all of my notebooks, I have copies of my DM tables. So I was showing these to Christina, and I promised to send them to her. These are just my compiled renditions of the tables from the Player's Handbook and the DMG that I use most often. And so they're just color-coded and arranged in the way that I find useful and things to look up. Just the most common information. And so I always have them in both my player notebook and in my DM notebook, because I find when I'm playing it's helpful to look all that stuff up all the time. So that's in there. And then in addition, I always keep a loose supply of paper. I have my own grid paper that I use. So these are just a little bit bigger than 1/4 inches grid. It's printed on the back so I can faintly see it through the front if I want to draw maps. I have similarly my own hex paper, the same way. So it's printed on one side and I can faintly see it. And then I just have ordinary lined paper for taking notes. Okay. So this is my player notebook. Then in each of the tabs, then I have the notes from a particular campaign and the character that I'm playing in. Right now, your campaign's the only one that I'm actually a player in. So you can see here in this folder, I have Lilith's character sheet. Again, these are my own versions of the character sheets. They're just kind of arranged, and I print them out so they're color-coded and they have information and space for the way that I like things. Okay, so Lil's character sheet is in there. This is a card. I'm still working and redesigning this one. You've seen me use it. This is meant to be used during play, and so it allows me to kind of make all the changes of things that happen all the time without having to constantly erase on my character sheet. I do that kind of basically when we level up, so my character sheet becomes the master. And then I also keep track of equipment on my main character sheet, but for combat and things, I'm experimenting using one of these. And you can see my inspiration point from you up there as well. Okay, so I just keep those in the tab here like this, and that's so I don't have to constantly undo those plastic rings here to get my character sheet in and out. Okay, and then behind that tab then is the character backstory, the notes from when I rolled up rolled up Lilith, and then these are all my session notes from when we play. And I just keep my notes directly. Lots of people go back and color code their notes and stuff like that from when they play. I think everyone has their own style, but this is just me taking notes from our sessions that we've had. Okay, and so I don't have any other characters. I have blank versions of all my sheets in the back, and then I have these are my one-shot characters that I use when I was playing sessions with Rough Magic. Okay, so that's my player notebook. Okay, and so I keep it all in one notebook, so when I play, I can just grab it and take it with me, and then I have it. My DM notebook is very similar. Okay, so I use a little bit bigger ring size because I have multiple campaigns I'm doing right now. It's again one of these 5-star flex notebooks. Okay, and I have a couple of rulers and stuff that I use all the time. This is my standard session notes that I use for when I'm DMing. So I number the sessions, date, what party it is we're playing, and the dungeon they're in, and then there's spaces for NPCs they meet during the game. That allows me to not forget NPC names and what they're all about. And then I list combat encounters, and that helps me go back later and award experience points and stuff. This little DM musings box down here is things that I don't want to forget, ideas that I had about side quests, things that I hope I do differently, things the players liked or didn't like. I always just make a little note to myself after every session. And then on the back, I keep my full notes from the session, depending on what happened there. So I have a completed one in here somewhere. Oh no, it's over here. So this is kind of what they end up looking like after I've run a session. So you can see I recorded information there. I've recorded the combat encounters. There's some DM musings there, and then my full notes on the back. And I know you do your notes electronically, but I always have extra copies of my DM session sheets here in my DM notebook. Okay, and that's because I don't usually sit with a computer in front of me as you've been doing. So again, there's a copy of my DM tables there. And then I have one of the tabs set aside for each of the games that I happen to be DMing. So there's a section for one-shots there. I haven't been doing any one-shots lately, but here is the Aaron Wild campaign for a group that I play with online. This map here in the front right now is the map that I'm currently working on. So since I'm kind of constantly pulling it out and making notes about what's going to happen on here, I have it easily accessible. And then this is really just all my notes and musings from when I'm designing the dungeon. Now, all of my groups right now are virtual, so these are just kind of rough notes that allow me to get things into fantasy grounds. So they're just kind of notes about the story, ideas for the dungeons. When I have a city, they were in this city called Riftport. I make long lists of the NPCs they might encounter, and all of that just kind of goes into the campaign notes for that particular campaign in the notebook. Okay, so then this is my other group. So this is my other group who's trying to stop a Dracolic from being brought back into the world. So this is their dungeon I'm working on right now. And again, just notes and stuff from planning for that. Okay, and then the last group here, this is a group that is currently exploring the Underdark, and so they are trying to understand what's going on. There's some trouble coming their way. Just like in my DM notebook, then I have collections of paper and sheets and stuff here in the back. And then these are for making tabletop grids if I need them on the fly, if I don't happen to have something like Christina's there with me. Okay, so that's how I use those notebooks. Now, the only thing about these is that sometimes, I don't want to take all of them with me. I don't want to carry this with me all the time. And so sometimes when I'm working on one little bit, the other thing I do is I have these things called backpack notebooks that, so there's basically a polyvinyl file folder, but I have basically taped off one end of it, okay? And so when you stick papers in there, they stay in there, and I can stick it in my backpack and they won't fall out, and it kind of keeps everything contained. So if I'm just, heading to a coffee shop for the afternoon and I'm just going to drink coffee and draw dungeon maps, then I can just put in whatever I'm working in this notebook and not carry my big giant notebook with me, okay? And then lastly, when campaigns retire, I have a big 3-ring binder. Okay, so you can see this is just a normal 3-ring binder I got from Staples. And then again, there's extra DM sheets. But then when I retire the campaigns, all the campaign notes go into this notebook. Okay, so that's my system. Take what you like, ignore what you don't. Maybe it'll help you do things differently. Maybe you'll think of something clever. And if you do think of something clever, let me know what you think of. Okay? Talk to you all soon.